There's a problem in that today a lot of the communities we manage are being managed in a manual, an inefficient way. You can see on the slides, on the screenshots, a comment from someone on Twitter where he's basically just, it's now X, not Twitter, where he's basically complaining about just the inefficiencies in, the way that his community is being run. And this is a problem that we have heard time and time again, and which is one of the reasons why we actually came up with the idea of VENCO. The solution that has become VENCO today. And the point is this, that many people, everyone has to live somewhere. Increasingly, people are living in multi-property communities, residential communities, or people are doing business in multi-property commercial arrangements. And with this come new challenges in the way that these communities can be managed, but they also present new opportunities, for example, in the management of the communities, in the application of technology for those communities, and so on and so forth. And our solution is basically a platform to digitize the operations in these communities. So everything from, the typical processes that I think are the top of mind for many people here, things like collections, the property management, having a digital directory of residents, and maybe utilities vending. But beyond that, VENCO is now taking it to the next step, which is essentially an operating system for residential and commercial real estate, right? So in that operating system, we are going beyond the idea of just solving the immediate problems of, okay, how do we make collections more efficient, and how do we make utilities vending more efficient, into how do we tap into this community and create and harness the value that this community, has embedded within it. And this is basically what we've done with VENCO. Next slide, please. Okay. So I'll need you to zoom in, or maybe you can zoom in. So essentially what we are seeing here is the ecosystem for what a community represents. So maybe if you can shift to exactly. So you'll see there the community, and the community has the tenants or the residents, it has the property manager, and it has the landlords within it. And these are the people who make up the core of a community, right? And in the core of that community, there are many needs and requirements. The residents there want things that make their lives easier so that they can access services more easily in the communities where they are. The property managers want to be able to offer their services in a more efficient way that requires less time and less tension with their residents. And of course, the property owners there have invested in those communities and want to be able to basically make sure that the value is not eroded in their investment. And essentially, this is what VENCO is trying to do, at least in its own small part, with the software and the platform that we have built. So as I said before, you will understand VENCO as something that helps you to do, collections, utility vending, maybe access control, and all of that. We see it as more, right? So we see it as a platform that serves as a gateway into the community, where we can offer everything from wallet services to shared amenities, to the visitors management, to marketplaces for goods and services, to issue management functionality, and of course the staples of collections and utility vending. And today we have already realized some of this functionality. So if you look at the circles in the light green, these are the things that we've done already, transaction processing, we do subscriptions management, we do the automation of billing and collections, but also we now want to use the platform as a way to launch embedded finance services, as well as other services like shared economy services, right, that make sense in the context of a community. So let me put it to you like this. Today we either live in or manage these types of multi-family, multi-property communities, and we have now a situation where when you subscribe to the platform like VENCO, you are able to have an app in the hands of every resident, Why are we not thinking more about what we can do with that access that we have to the residents? So beyond just using it as a way to collect money from them, how are we thinking about how to use it to add value to them? And this is really the core of what we are looking at in our version 2.0 for VENCO, right? And what we are looking at is a scenario where, for example, there are 100 residents in a community. Almost all of them buy seaway water. Why can't we have, and since they have a shared platform, why can't we take advantage of that shared platform to do what we call a shared economy play? So rather than me going out to buy my 6 bottles of seaway water every 2 weeks, and you, my neighbor, doing the same, why can't we use that platform to aggregate demand and have a truck come to the estate twice a week to deliver 100 bottles or 200 bottles of seaway water, thereby creating value for the residents? Because when you buy in bulk like that, you're going to bring down the unit cost of these resources. But it's not just seaway water, it's all the consumables that you buy in your house. This is a way to use this platform to also give rather than take from the residents, because the truth is that many residents in these communities, when you deploy solutions like this, look at it as just a way to impose rigor on them to make sure that they make their payments easily. But one of the things that I think will help in our own perception as facilities managers and providers of services in these communities is if these same platforms that we are bringing are able to provide value to those residents. Why, as a resident in a community, don't I have access to credit? By virtue of the fact that a third-party provider of debt, for example a bank, now has a vetted platform where they can guarantee who you are, where you live, and they can see an economic profile of you by virtue of the spend in the payment for service charges and all of those things that you've done in the past. That already is more information than a lot of fintechs today have when they give you a loan for 50,000 naira or 100,000 naira with no collateral, right? But already with VENCO, you already have a platform where you have a lot of KYC information that can be put to the use and create value for the residents in that community, such that when I'm moving in there and I need to buy a sofa or a TV or other things, white goods in my property unit, rather than having to cough up large amounts of money to buy those things one-off, I can access credit, but with the guarantee that there is a wallet in place where my payments can be made from, right? Of course, I'm sure we're all aware with all the different drives and solutions out there that are now pushing the concept of monthly rent, right? So one of the big things that you all do today, or many of you do today with VENCO, is the collection of service charges, right, and other types of recurrent payments. So the question is, if you're using the platform to collect service charges, how different is that from you using that same platform to collect rent, right? And immediately what this does is that it provides value to three, in fact, all the stakeholders in the community. For you, the facility manager, it opens up a new business line for you, where beyond making sure that service charges are collected, you are now able to offer to the property owners or the owners of the property that you are managing the feature where you can help them to collect their rent reliably, right? So I've lost track of how many landlords in estates have made complaints about how tenants are owing them, and there's nobody to help them in this process. So one step from then automating the collection of rents, just the same way that you have automated the collection of service charges, is then providing credit for rent. So then saying, okay, since I've digitized the collection of rent, why can't we then make it easier for people to pay their rent and provide monthly rental collection services, right, at a bit of a premium? But what it does is that it makes it easier for tenants to pay. It makes it more guaranteed that landlords will make their payments. With a player like VENCO working in concert with providers of debt, you are able to then originate business for like a bank or somebody else who is really interested in giving those types of loans as far as they are secure, right? And essentially it's a win-win for all the stakeholders. Tenants can pay monthly, you open up a new line of business for yourself as a property manager, providing rent collection services for the property owners, and then property owners reduce their risk of default, in rent. And already on the VENCO platform, you have all the infrastructure and the basis on which to execute this, right? So this is one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about today, and it's one of the products that you will start to see rolling out in the third quarter of this year on the VENCO platform, and which we will then be approaching quite a number of you, to then push into the communities where you are. So basically, that's the overview on how we see the community or the residential community as an ecosystem, where a lot of value can be created, and it can be a give and take, not just the perception of a take as it may look to many residents in these communities. Of course, also there is the provision of services. So again, what you've done in a community is that you brought together a lot of people who have shared needs, right? And when you create a marketplace within this type of community using the technology platform of the app that all of the users use, then there's no reason why you can't then introduce the providers of third-party services, cleaning services, maintenance services, and all of that. So you create an ecosystem and a marketplace for transactions to happen. Today, I mean, a lot of you are on the WhatsApp groups in the communities that you serve, and one of the most popular types of conversations there, except from sometimes complaints, is where can I find a plumber? Where can I find someone to fix my AC? Where can I find this? Where can I find that? Meanwhile, we have lost sight of the fact that we have a common platform that everyone is using, where we are able to advertise these types of products and get the providers of these products to list their products, thereby engendering commerce within the community around those estates, as well as solving the needs of the residents within those communities. Okay, so I think we can move on to the next slide. Yeah. And to do all of these things that I've spoken about now, we need partnerships and collaborations, right? And this is something that we've spent quite a bit of the year, racking up and signing up. So basically, we are launching a wallet. So on the wallet, the whole idea is that residents can fund the wallet so that they can then spend on the obligations within the estate, as well as obligations to third parties that we introduce them to, right? So one of those things is the wallet, and to implement this, we have done a number of banking as a service partnerships with several payment banks, neobanks, and payment providers. Right? So for example, we've gone into partnership with people like Block, CoraPay, Squad, Wema Bank, Zenith, Providus, and quite a number of others. And again, this is something we'll be seeing shortly with the new updates that we will be rolling out on our apps, within the next month. Okay, then we are collaborating and partnering as well with property managers and facilities managers. So we've gone into partnerships now with people like Lekki Gardens, Anthony Roads, Beachway Homes, Aquafield, White Oak, and Brains and Hammers. And where we are going with this is that in many cases, these organizations are property managers, and they are not just focusing on the management of the facilities, but they are also managing properties on behalf of the owners of the people who have bought into these properties. And we believe that there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity for them to go beyond their typical facilities management, where according to the facilities managers, their margins are being squeezed, right? And then to create more and more opportunities in terms of things that we are talking about around the rental financing, around marketplace services, and so on and so forth. So, we have a product and a partnership arrangement that we are going into with a number of these people, so that we can expand, we can help them expand the scope of the services that they offer today, and thereby widen the revenue band and brackets that's they have access to. Okay. Okay, and then of course there's the goods and services. So I gave the instance of Seaway, but we've also gone into partnerships with people like Bumper, so that people can list, goods and services. So many of us are not just residents in communities, we are also business people and entrepreneurs. So your neighbor probably, others within the community, so we've gone into partnerships with people like Bumper. We've got into partnerships with people like Gas 360 and Mesovest for gas distribution, so gas ordering and distribution, and then of course with ClickerFix for a wide range a platform for that is a wide range of to provide a wide range of goods and services, right? Okay, and then we've also gone into relationships and partnerships with independent power providers like Viathan, right? And many of them have gone into situations where they are now doing sub-metering of power, and they also want to find out what the best options are for providing power, backup power to the communities where they operate. So Viathan and Protetia Energy are two big players in this space from the renewable perspective. So Viathan does gas-powered power turbines, power, and Protegia does solar-based microgrids, and basically we've been able to come into relationships with them where they focus on the provision of their power, and then we focus on the last mile, which is the distribution, the vending, billing and collections around that, as well as financing for prepaid meter assets. So we've done this, for example, for places like from Prime Waterview to Tedro Show Market and so on and so forth. Okay, yeah, next slide please. Okay, so I mean, this is just a summary to show a number of the different people that we've done partnerships with. So I mean, there's the Seaway. So even for embedded insurance, we've done partnerships with Curacell. As I said, we've already done the partnerships with ClickerFix, Bumper, and so on and so forth. The whole idea is to essentially create and inject value into these ecosystems. We feel that there's a lot of opportunities that are being wasted and not taken advantage of. And these partnerships put us in a strategic position to help to improve the quality of life, which is the key thing that we're about at VENCO. I think that's the end. So thank you for listening. I don't know if there are any questions or comments.
So we're open to questions and answers. We have questions, so we can take the answers here. First off, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this soft-spoken gentleman. Thank you very much, sir, for making us understand VENCO more. Please, we have, okay.
Sorry, do you mind if I sit down?
Please.
Age is catching on me, so. When it comes to independent power producers, can you tell us the arrangements you have? Because there are some companies who they just want to supply power at a point. They are not interested in how it is distributed. And I also know that, for example, let me take a coal, for example. Lagos. You have a coal distribution company that has some license over some of these areas. How do you navigate to snatch their customers away from them and get on with whatever you are doing? Because I know that will be a Herculean task to get these people and also get the buy-in of the regulator. If you can just give some.
Okay, so I think that's a fantastic question. So to start from the end, it's not so much snatching those opportunities away from Eco Disco or the other discos in the places that we operate, as much as collaborating with them. So the truth today is that there is a gap and there's a deficit in the amount of power they are able to provide. So even they recognize that they need some complements. Right, and I think this is the gap that people like the Viathans and other IPPs, are looking to fill. So they are not looking necessarily to be a complete replacement for Eco Disco or the other discos, but to be a complement to them. Okay, and you're right. So many of them, their interest really is they don't want to get into the retail mix. They basically just want to be able to provide their power in bulk and get their payments at the end of the month, for example, because many of them operate on a postpaid model. And that's the value proposition for us to them, right? Which is, in as much as you want to do this, if you don't have the mechanisms within that community to enable the retail to work properly, for example, to let the metering, you understand, be there so that the cost of this energy is allocated fairly, and in fact you can then make the metering prepaid so that the money is coming before the consumption, right? If you miss out all of those things and you just drop bulk power at the door of the estate, what you are setting yourself up for is, if you miss out all of those things and you just drop bulk power at the door of the estate, what you are setting yourself up for is a situation where you are not going to get payment for those services that you have offered. So it is in your best interest to actually either have that kind of retail side solution or partner with people who are focused on that area, because essentially we are doing revenue assurance for you. You are making it easier to guarantee that you are going to get your payment at the end of the month by making sure that all the units are metered, by making sure that they, as much as possible, prepay before they consume, right? And in cases where there are capex challenges to meter all of those places, to work with a partner like ourselves who are willing to actually do the upfront investment in that metering, and then have the collections, because we are both doing the utility vending as well as collections. It puts us in a unique position to finance meters and recover the cost from the collections that we are doing. So hopefully this provides some clarity. Okay.
So after now we'll take just 2 more questions and we're good.
Don't worry, I think I'm the oldest here, so give me the opportunity to talk. There's something that, because now I know that there is a process where the tariff setting can be a problem, and sometimes, I think most times, when you are into electricity business, you need to register what you are doing with the NERC, and your tariff too has to be registered with them. How do you relate the cost of service with respect to the regulatory environment that may prevent you from charging certain fees into the system?
Okay, so I think this is a problem that has been solved by a lot of facilities managers here, right? So when you are doing a sub-metering approach, right, where you are essentially blending the power that the residents in a particular community is getting is not directly from the disco, but is blended with other sources, then you may not really be operating under those constraints, because those constraints really apply to discos, right? So if a disco is supplying power directly to you in your house, they can't just wake up tomorrow and change the tariff from 80 naira to 100 naira. However, if the disco is only supplying at a wholesale point, and then that power is now being combined with other sources of energy, well, to be able to recover, for example, it's not the same cost to provide 1 kilowatt of energy from a generator as it is from EcoDisco, right? So the tariff has to be cost reflective, right? So it doesn't really come up in cases where sub-metering approach has been adopted, because there you are now combining several sources, and the person who is doing the last mile of distribution of power is not the disco, it is a private concern. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Go to the second question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the presentation. My question, or what shall I call it? Well, question. Can you shed some more light on the modality for the collection of monthly rent okay, by tenants, with some emphasis on how, at what point do you release this money to the landlord? What insurance will be in place to mitigate against the risk
Of default.
of default, not only on this part of the tenant, but also on the part of VENCO? Supposing something happens to VENCO, what happens?
Okay.
So are you playing the role of agent for the landlord, or, well, I mean, because there are legal implications?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great question. So basically, the way we've designed that product is this. So there's the landlord, there's VENCO, there's the tenant. We are not doing a subletting arrangement. So essentially what we're doing is we're adding one more person to that landscape, which is the originator, which is the provider of debt. So it can be a bank, or it can be a group of people who are willing to finance this kind of thing. So it's really just a straightforward lending arrangement, right? Tenant is on the VENCO platform, gets a pop-up on their app saying, are they interested in paying their rent monthly? Is their rent renewal coming up? If they say yes, then we'll basically sign them up. We already have their KYC, we know where they live. We'll do a few more checks on them. We'll do something that enables us determine their creditworthiness, be it from how much they've spent on the platform, paying their service charges and other obligations, and also some other third-party things, right? And then once we've done that, we'll be, and we are sure that we want to give this person that facility, then we'll just go to an on-lender that we've signed up, who has basically agreed that every time we tell them to pay rent on behalf of the tenant, they will pay, right? So what then happens is that once that vetting has happened, we will give them an instruction and they will pay the landlord. Now the question is, how do we know who the landlord is? That's where the property managers and the facilities managers here come in, because they are the ones managing the place. In many cases, they have a very close relationship with the developer, or they may, be a partner to the developer themselves. So they are able to tell us conclusively, definitively, that this is the owner of the property, so that we know that we are paying the right person. So essentially, it's a situation where the bank is paying on behalf of the tenant. We have originated the demand by telling the bank that, hey, here is someone who we have vetted and is willing to pay. And then once that is done, our platform becomes the way to collect, right? So how do we do that? So remember that this is the same platform where you pay for your estate obligations, right? We are now bringing in the wallet. The whole concept of the wallet is that when you fund the wallet, your estate obligations are drawn down automatically from there. We'll also then just put the debt, the repayment for the rent, against your wallet, so that when it falls due, it's taken. The idea then would be that if, as a tenant, you want to access estate services, you want to pay your service charge, or you want to buy utilities, you will fund that wallet. But when you fund that wallet and there's already an existing debt for your rent repayment, the system will keep taking that until your rent is paid up, and then you can then pay for any other, essential service that you require in the community. So that's the security, right? So now the final part is, what if I take that rent and it's a year's rent, my rent has been paid for a year, and then I decide to jackpot 6 months down the line, right? This is also where the partnership with the property managers and facilities managers is essential, because we won't deploy this in communities where there are no exit controls, right? So the whole idea is that were you to plan to leave a community, there is a checkout process that has to be taken, where your whole debt profile and checks are done, and then if there's outstanding debt, that should be mitigated at that point before you are allowed to leave the estate. But there are also other sureties that we put in place to make sure that should that happen, we can still recover the funds. So that's basically, I can't give you too much more detail without giving away too much, but that's the whole idea around it. Yes, hopefully it makes sense to you. Okay, I like that. So hopefully you are looking to fund some of that, finance some of the rent. Okay.
Thank you. Please, we'll take a last question, just a last question. Last question, then we'll go. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful presentation once again.
Thanks.
I actually want to talk about the marketplace services.
Yeah.
I'm sure under this we have the private sectors, I mean individuals, as well as professionals. Now, for instance, I stay in an estate where I need the service of an HVAC personnel.
Can I ask you, what does that estate use VENCO currently?
No.
Okay, are we going to be getting VENCO into that estate soon?
Very soon.
Okay, good.
So, if I need the service of an HVAC professional,
yes.
Now, is there any background check you'll have done because of for security reasons? I won't allow any person to just come into my apartment. So, is there any other thing you do background to avoid all the security issues coming up?
I think this is a fantastic question. So, good enough. We have a partnership with an organization. One of the organizations that we are going into this with is called ClickerFix, right? And what they do, their own strength, all they exist for is to provide vetted, resources for, artisans for these types of, services, right? So they've done that work, and nobody is on their platform. So we integrate into their platform, but no one is on their platform who has not gone through extensive vetting, before being brought to you. So even for the other services outside of ClickerFix that we are going to offer, right? So for example, people selling goods and services, there will be a minimum KYC that is done of them so that we know, who they are. So that is not a situation where when you buy a service through, or a good through the VENCO platform, and that person doesn't deliver, we don't know how to reach them. So one of the things we are very intentional about is that we just want to be a platform to bring different players together. So we won't be doing the e-commerce, we won't be doing, the logistics or fulfillment and all of that. But what it means is that we then have to work with trusted partners to make sure, that those services that are going to be provided through our platform are going to be high quality, guaranteed services with some sort of, traceability around who is providing those services. So the short answer is that yes, anyone who you see on the VENCO platform is going to be a vetted resource by our trusted partners. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Mr. Chuli. One more time, please join your hands together for him. Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us on VENCO Africa. If you noticed, from everything he said, the summary is that VENCO Africa is focused on giving value to those who are residents in real estate. Value is the word. And from everything he has said, if you notice, emphasis on estate. These things will not work if you don't stay in estate. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, do you live in estate? Do you live? Because some people are staying in estate that is not estate. Yeah, because I noticed the estate you call, look at the name, Prime Water Gardens, wonderful name. White Oak, Beachway Homes, Nikon Town, Pinnock Estate, and those are estates. If you stay in any estate that has somebody's name and surname, it's not estate. Any estate like Benga or Luwabamigo is not estate. That's a village, please park. Any estate that you have OPC is not estate. Any estate you have horse and ram running around is not estate. Any estate that Okada used to enter is not estate. Any estate that somebody will come to your door and knock without estate security calling you is not estate. So please, let's take this into consideration. And now, that was on a lighter note. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess that if we have more questions, we'll get to handle it after yes, we'll meet you personally. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, VENCO Africa has something to do which is very, very special, which is a product demo, and I would like to leave the microphone to this young man who's going to take over his time. His name is Frank Felix. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning, everyone. Please, can we just smile? The faces here are not looking very, very encouraging. So my name is Frank, and I am the product personnel with VENCO, and I'm here to talk about the VENCO Verse. The VENCO Verse is basically a collaboration of various apps that are tied together in the VENCO verse. So yes, I would please we look at the screen while I talk so that you can follow my presentation. So yes, while they are working on the screens, let me just give us a very quick overview. The VENCO verse is basically a collaboration of 3 apps. We have the VENCO app, you have the VENCO for admin, and you have the VENCO for security. Now these 3 apps are tied together in such a way that they help you manage your estates and communities properly. Now let me tell you a story, like the screen says. So yes, we have the VENCO app, which is the hub in the resident's hands, where the resident can carry out his own activities, manage his own activities basically. Now what are these activities? That's what we want to talk about. Now we have various activities that range from the dashboard to the book visitors to the bills and utilities and the likes. There are quite a lot of them, but then I'll be taking them one after the other. First I will look at is what is called the profile and IDs. What is the profile and ID? I'm sure all of us would be happy if I came to you and I called you by your name. Now how would it feel if you get on the VENCO app and you don't see your name? That's what profile and ID is there for. It shows you who you are, your name, your email address, basic details about you, such that you know that when you're logged in, you are the one logged in, not that someone else is logged in on your behalf or in proxy of you. The next I will take a look at would be the finances, and that is basically what VENCO has put together to make sure that you as a facility manager or as a resident, as the case may be, gets to see all of your details on the VENCO verse basically. Now I know I jumped, I'm going back to profile and IDs, but let's do a bit of what we all do basically. I know there is the virtual ID in the profile and ID and all of that, but I'm sure most of us here are really keen on how will this work for me. Yes, most of us here are facility managers, and that's why I'm jumping a few things. Now, like I said, the finances. You'll be happy to know that as a resident on VENCO, using the VENCO app, you have the ability to see your balances. Am I owing service charge? How much is it? Am I owing for power? How much is it? Not that you are beginning to rack your brain and ask yourself, does it look like I'm owing or am I not owing? And that is what VENCO dashboard does for you. It gives you an overview at a glance what your financial status is like on your estates, and this cuts across various estates. I will talk about this much later when I go back to the profile and IDs. Now, having spoken about the dashboard where you can see your balances, we also have on the dashboard is a part where you see your active meters. Now, what are these active meters? I don't know if we have come to that space where you need to just maybe quote something and it left your head, but then on the VENCO dashboard you get to see your meter number, as much as you use the VENCO communications meters. Now those are the only meters that allow you to see your meter number on your platform, except of course you want to now go to the back end where the admin people can now see your meter number by passing for you by themselves. Now next I'll take a look at is what is called the book visitors. Wow, this feature actually for me does it basically. And what is book visitors? I know some of us have come to a point where I just want to be on my own. I need my space. I need my peace. And somebody just comes visiting you, knocking on your door, and then you are like, God, what is this? Now that's what the VENCO book visitors does for you. If you don't book a visit for anybody, nobody gets access to you. Only those who you have sent out visit codes to get to see you at the times that they get to see you. The next I'll take a look at I'll speak about is what's called the wallet. Now the wallet is a feature that is coming out pretty soon, and it's a place where I'm sure some of us facility managers, we have had complaints where residents telling me, I want to pay for power 100 naira per stack. I want to pay for service charge 100 naira per stack. I want to do this 100 naira per stack. We have tried to sum all of that up into a wallet for you, where you just pay that 100 naira once, fund your wallet, and from that wallet, every other purchase you do is catered for. You just have to pay that bill only once and fund that wallet. So for some of us that wouldn't mind, we can also tell our residents about it. They can throw in their money there. I have free money I don't want to spend, please put it there. And you just incur that cost once. Now this will take me to the report issues and emergencies. Now I have come to understand that sometimes on estates, like my boss said, who gave the speech, he spoke about people who want to talk to their facility manager. And I'm like, I have to pick my phone, I have to make a call. With the VENCO platform, you don't have to make a call. You can pour out your heart on the app, and instantaneously your admin gets to see that heart you poured out on their phone. However you pour it out, nobody wants to know. Please pour out your heart. And we have built in such a way that there are categories to these issues. You cannot just pour out your heart without having a direction to the issue you're pouring out. So yes, that is what the VENCO emergency and report issue does for you. The next is amenities. Yes, on the amenities feature is one of that feature that gives me goosebumps whenever I see it. I don't know if you have come to a point where I need to use a communal property, someone else on the estate also needs to use that same communal property, and two of us at the same time. And for me, it becomes a fiasco because everybody has a right to it. But if I pre-book it first, then I use it. So if I book it before you, then I'm very sorry, you have to wait until I'm done before you can use it. And that way we keep sanity on the estate. Nobody is beefing anybody. Because Fasimaya said, sorry, let him use it for 30 minutes. You can use it for 25 minutes. And that automatically solves all of that issue. Please, before we go to the admin app, please pause it. Thank you very much. Let me go back to the profile and ID where I said I was going to speak about a few things. Don't worry, don't do the slide. I will do what I want to do. Now, as I was saying earlier, the profile and ID gives you a notion of yourself, your name and personal details. But then beyond that, there is something called a virtual ID. What is a virtual ID? Some of us live on estates where we have to carry plastic cards with estate logo, estate address. And for me, that is a lot of security threat. What if I drop that ID card somewhere, somebody picks it, the person automatically knows where I live? But with the VENCO virtual ID, you don't have to carry a card. All you need is your smartphone. And there's never nothing on your smartphone. The only thing that's on your smartphone is a QR code. Once that QR code is scanned, you are identified on your estate and you can gain access into any of the properties that is allowed to you on that estate. The next I want to look at under profile and ID would be the NFC cards and stickers. Now, NFC cards and stickers are basically used for residents who have helps. You have your car and you don't want to have to go through the hassle of somebody asking you, please, where are you going to? Because I'm driving my car. With a sticker on your car, definitely you have all of that sorted out, because once the security app scans that sticker, it pulls up details of this car, pulls up details of the owner of the car, the house he's living in, and that grants him access into the estate. Security threats already resolved. But then there is one scenario I want to paint. Please follow me. Now, what if on the app it has been registered that I drive a blue Venza with my car sticker, and in physical my car is pulled over the gate and the security people are seeing a black Venza with the same sticker, same plate number. Now that is why the VENCO the profile and IDs for the NFC stickers is very, very key. I would advise that we please subscribe to it, because with that you definitely know that there is an impersonation somewhere. If a blue car is on my phone and I'm seeing a black car in person, same details, same everything, I should be asking questions. Now that is security threat number 2 resolved. Now this brings me to the next thing, which is called the VENCO, the NFC ID cards. This is for your house helps. I have a house help, I have a driver, a chauffeur, I have a nanny. I don't have to keep booking them in every day. Every now and then, I can just give them a card, and that card grants them access in and access out. I don't know if this is wowing somebody here right now, because for me it was a lot. So I don't have to think about my nanny is coming, I have to book a code. My driver is coming, I need to book a code. All of that is already sorted out on the VENCO platform. Yes, VENCO admin, thank you very much. So yes, the VENCO admin, which is where we all play, we all, including me. So we play in this field because we manage estates. And what does the VENCO admin app do for you? VENCO for administrators. Now, first of all, I will talk about is the dashboard, where you get to see everything concerning your estate, from the occupancy status on your estate up to the outstanding bills that are payable, even up to guests that you expect on your estate. All of that is itemized for you on the VENCO admin app dashboard. The next I'll talk about is the property units. This is where you get to see all of the houses that are registered on your estate. You get to see which house is vacant, which is occupied, without even having to open the house itself, and all of that is available to you still on the app. You can manage a lot of things. You can see who is owing you money from the same app, who has paid you money from the same app. You can even track payments on the same app, and I'm sure that is one feature that we are all happy about. The next I'll look at is how do you register NFC ID cards on the app. NFC ID cards, like I said, cards and stickers. Cards for helps, nannies and the rest, stickers for the cars. Now these can be registered on the admin app as well, simply by scanning the card or the tag, and all of that will be registered with the details that the facility manager puts on that form. And whenever the card or sticker is scanned, it pulls up the same details. So if you scan my face, you will not see my colleague's face. It's my face you will see. And that is another security loophole that we have tried to cover. The very next I will take a look at is what is called the open issues and emergency. Now, like I said earlier, residents can pour out their hearts, right? Yeah. Now, when these hearts are poured out, who receives it? The administrator. Now, how do they receive it on the admin app via the open issue? They can reply these issues on that same app, and the resident gets a notification on his phone saying, we have seen your issue, we are working on it. So facility manager does not have to call the resident to say, you sent an issue. Or that's a communication channel on its own, both within the facility manager and the resident, and they both get to see what is going on. In fact, it is so open that another facility manager can pick up that same issue from where the other facility manager left off and finish it up if there is any need for it. Same thing, residents can also pick, I have my brother living with me in my house, I dropped an issue, I've probably forgotten about it, or I'm not available to follow through. He can pick it up from there and close it out. Now, one fantastic thing about these open issues is that you can actually take a picture of the issue. So I have broken doorknob. I don't have to wait till the facility that comes to my house to know, oh, my doorknob is the long doorknob or is the automatic doorknob. I can take a picture. He knows what to bring when he's coming, and that saves turnaround time for fixing of all of those issues. Open emergencies shows you as facility manager how many emergencies have been raised on your estates, and it also gives access to the resident to also call helplines like 112 or like the fire service. All of that is also available for you on the app. Now, this will bring me to the very last thing I would want to talk about today. Please fast forward to security. I think my time is fast spent. To security. Oh, sorry, please. One very brief I just saw right now. Shortlet activation and join requests. For some of us on our estates, we have got tired of having to punch people's name and phone number. Sometimes we even make mistakes about it. We want to type somebody's phone number, we put 0 before 1 instead of 1 before 0. Now we have made a feature on the app where you don't have to do that yourself. Let the resident feel that it's by themselves. All you have to do is just approve them after you have verified that detail. So if there's a mistake, it's no longer on you, it's now on the resident. I'm sure that is something you would like to do, because it takes a whole lot of burden off you. You don't have to start keeping records, start tracing records up and down for somebody. They can feel themselves, onboard themselves. All you have to do is just verify and approve. That is for the join request. Now the last, on this is the shortlist. I'll speak on the shortlist feature. A colleague might still come and talk about this, but let me just give a peripheral. So on some of our estates, we have people who run shortlets, people who come in for short stay. Now, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, it is not something that is oblivious of the facility manager. He needs to have an overview of what is going on in that apartment, even though it is a shortlet. Now, that is what the shortlet feature covers. Like I said, a colleague of mine will come to speak about that much later. Now, VENCO for security. I'll be very quick about this one. It's just a matter of four buttons, only four buttons. This is where you as the facility manager can give access to security team to be able to validate access codes that are generated by residents and sent to their guests. So a very quick example, I am a guest, I came to visit you. You've sent me a code, I get to the gate, I give that code to the security team. They look at the code, go to the security app, validate that code. You that booked me in, you get notified that I'm around. I come into the estate, I see you and I'm done. And when I'm leaving, I give you that same code. The security team verifies the same code and exits me from the estate. You who've booked me in still gets notified that I have left. Now, this is, for us, it's a big feature because we are trying to close a particular loop of people not knowing the whereabouts of their guests. So if the guest is still on the estate, it means that I will not get a notification, even if he has left my house. So meaning somebody comes to visit me and the person has left my house 1 hour later, I have not got a notification, that means there's a problem. Or somebody visits me and has left my house at maybe 10:15, I'm getting to hear at 11 o'clock that the person has not got to where he's going to, then there's a problem. But then with that notification, I can exonerate myself from whatever be the consequence for all of those actions. Yeah. The next I'll take a look at is what is called the approve exit request for guests. So this is basically where you can request for that whenever a guest is leaving your estate, the resident who booked the guest needs to be notified and he or she needs to approve that that guest can leave the estate. So unlike the traditional one where you book the code, they go, now somebody has to validate that they can leave. And this is so that in case they are living with properties that belong to the residents, that can be captured as well on the app. Next I will talk about is the scan QR codes. This is where the app can scan QR codes, whether it's for residents or for guests who are coming into the estate, and they get validated. And the last would be the scan NFC tags. This is where you as the security team can as well scan NFC items, be these stickers, cards, and the likes. Now, with this, I have wrapped up my session. But then, before I leave, I want to introduce to you two very beautiful ladies who would speak about the shortlet as well as the global wallet. And then, please help me welcome AG and AJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again for Mr. Frank Felix. And before they start to do the demonstration for the product, I would like us to know that we'll still take questions and we'll have answers, but this time around we're doing it differently. So we'll have papers, and if you know you're interested or you have a question, we'll give you a paper and a pen and you write it down, after which we'll handle it like in no time. So please, if you know you have anything you need to be clear about, we'll give you a pen and a paper, and later on we'll handle the questions. Thank you.
Hello everyone. My name is Agogo, but you can call me AG.
Hi everyone, my name is Ajuma, but you can call me AJ.
And we are AG and AJ.
So let's imagine a community. You live in a community where you can do everything you want. You can get whatever you want. Just by pressing your hand phones.
Just imagine, as a facilities manager, you can do everything within your community from the palm of your hand, anytime you want, anywhere you want.
So we're here today to tell you about two cool features that were just recently launched on the VENCO platform.
Those two features include the global wallet and the shortlet feature. While the screen is still on, I'm just going to give an overview of the story behind the wallet. So we started out with manual payments, where you have to use things like Paystack before you can actually make payments within your community. But now we have put all of that into one wallet, where your residents just come and activate that wallet and then use that wallet to pay for anything within the community. It includes some of the new features that we're going to be bringing very soon, like just anticipate. And are the screens working yet? Okay, so I'm just going to explain how the wallet works. The wallet is like the first thing you see on the app once you open it right now. It has an available balance, and it also has like the balance where you see how much money you've put into the account. So the available balance allows your residents to know that these are the deductions that have been taken away from the account. So one cool thing about the wallet for facilities managers is that once a resident is owing any bill within the community, any service charge, any community due, you get to like take that deduction once that money is within their wallet. So now you can avoid anything like my residents are not paying me on time. Once the app detects that the money that they're supposed to pay to you is in that wallet, it deducts it before they can use it to do anything else within the community.
Now let's talk about the shortlet feature. So this is a feature that empowers residents to rent their homes to short-term guests. We understand that some of our residents are exploring the fast-growing shortlet business, but managing guests can be challenging. Now we've listened to you, and in response to your feedback, we've developed this feature that simplifies guest management while allocating specific responsibilities to guests. We understand the importance of security in our communities, especially when welcoming guests from various backgrounds. So this is why we have ensured that administrators have visibility into the list of contacts as well as their contact details. We believe that their access to this comprehensive database will ensure security measures. Now, how does the shortlet feature work? Activating the shortlet feature is very straightforward, and it can be enabled for any community that chooses to use it. Residents can initiate this process by opening their VENCO app and clicking on the shortlet icon. Once this is done, the list of all the property units they belong to pulls up, and they are able to send a request to activate any specific property unit they want to activate for short-term rentals. This request goes to the administrator, and once the administrator approves this request, they now have flexibility to manage guest access by either adding or removing contacts as the case may be. They can also set the expected stay of these guests. We understand the challenge, most of the challenges faced by shortlet operators, where you have to book access codes for your guests anytime they have visitors. I want to believe some of us here have had that experience where we have someone in our shortlet apartment and they get to call us each time they need to invite someone in. Well, this is the good news. With this feature, guests gain access into the VENCO app, allowing them to book visitors by themselves, to report issues, and to report emergencies. This is also a way of extending the VENCO experience to guests, right? Right. Now, on the admin side of things, admin officers can efficiently manage shortlet requests by through their own VENCO app by clicking on the shortlet icon. Once this is done, they are able to see all the shortlet requests for that community. They have the flexibility of either accepting or declining the request as the case may be. They can also disable a shortlet apartment that may have violated one of their community rules. Today, this is what we have in place to empower shortlet operators in our communities. But our commitment to improvement continues, constantly working on enhancing this feature while prioritizing security and convenience. We look forward to you experiencing a smarter way of managing guests with us.
Okay, so to finish up on the wallet, based on what my colleague has actually said, we have like big plans to connect this wallet to the shortlet feature and the marketplace. So the marketplace actually allows your residents to purchase anything they want, any good or service that they want using their wallet. The wallet is, you can top up the wallet through any of your payment options like bank transfer, like using your card and things like that. So okay, so we will talk about how to top up your wallet. Sorry. So once you put in your desired amount, you click on your payment option, and there are 3 different payment options like I explained: the pay online, the pay with transfer, and the pay with USSD. So to pay online, the user selects their preferred payment options with Squad or with Paystack, and then they use their card to make that payment. But note that the payment with card actually has like a higher transaction fee than paying with any other option. Now, the second form of payment, paying with transfer, the user actually just goes to their app and click the account number which is going to be given to them and put it into their bank app, and then they can save that account number to top up their wallet later on. And once that account number has been saved, they can transfer the actual amount that they need to put in their wallet. But note, like I earlier said, the online version costs more than to transfer. Using the transfer option actually has like lower charges. Then finally, for the USSD code top up, the user just clicks on any of their preferred bank, and then it takes them straight to their phone, and then from there they make the transfer. Now, moving forward, I'm going to show you guys how you can the next option, please. Alright, so finally, we hope you guys have been able to understand a few things. We apologize for the technical mishaps that have been happening since this presentation started. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for them one more time. I think the goal of this gathering is to give us, to enlighten us more on VENCO Africa. And I think when I came in here, I would have had a lot of information about VENCO Africa till afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be having a panel, an interactive session, but before then, we'll go for a tea break for... Oh, okay, before we go into another session, we'll have the questions. Like I said earlier, if you have a question, you can identify, so we'll give you... Please, anybody wants to take a question? Question and answers? Okay.
Thank you very much. The section has been so enlightening since we started. When the CEO Trudy was taking us through the keynotes section, he asked him a question. There was something he said. He said for the monthly rent thing, VENCO needs to verify that particular individual. So activates the rent feature for my present facilities. Not all the residents will have access to that particular service.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. If you want them, because you need to work alongside with the owners, the landlords of the houses.
No, I'm even talking on the side of the resident, because he was talking about
The
KYC,
tenants,
the tenant,
yes,
sorry.
yes.
KYC, knowing the person's spend history,
Yes.
and also
Yeah.
it's based on those information.
History.
Not that because I've activated it, everybody has access.
No. We need to have track record. At least the person should have lived in the house for a minimum of like 6 months or 1 year, so we can build. It's just like for a bank, they want to see for how your credit history is. Do you have loans everywhere right now? So same thing with VENCO. We have to do our due diligence. Aside doing the KYC, you can't just move into a house and say you want to activate rent finance, and we're not going to give it to you. We need to see you build that history over time, and then we'll know that you're a candidate for that.
Thank you. Yeah, that answers it.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question has to do with the shortlets.
Okay.
Because in the estate where I currently live, we have shortlets there. And the current state of Nigeria now, we're all security conscious.
Yeah, true.
Now, I want to believe a lot of people have evil intention. It is possible for people to come for shortlet, and you see them drive around your estate. Some of them even bring drone, start to view and all that. Now, what are the measures, security measures? For instance, if the security should come around, meet them and ask them, oh, what are you doing in the estate? Oh, we're here on a shortlet. You cannot harass them because truly they're on a shortlet.
Sure.
So is there anything, security measures being put in place to avoid stories that touch the heart for main residents of that estate? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. So one of the, as VENCO as a company, we listen to feedback, and this shortlet feature which we are releasing came from feedback from residents, especially the associations, because they wanted to keep their community secure and safe. So sorry for the glitch in showing this thing while they were speaking. So one of the feature we built in is the security. So for you to use your house as a shortlet, you have to be you have to be activated by the community, by the estate has to approve that house as a shortlet. One, the estate we know the houses that are tagged shortlets. Two, they also know who is in that house at that time, because they have the back end as administrators. They can see the people that are there. And also part of the things we'll be releasing in version 2.0 will be, even for you to stay there as a shortlet, there are some minimum KYC, maybe driver's license or passports that needs to be uploaded. If not, the security at the gates will not allow your guests to come in, because now estate communities are taking that power from this landlord. So you have to abide by our rules. We are not saying yes, it's your house, you have a right to use it as a shortlet, but you have to conform to our estate rules. This is how it is now going to work. So that was the reason. So there are securities built in it. So even the estate administrators have oversight on who is in their estates. And for example, the drone issue, if someone was flying a drone, that means we know who he is, the house he came into is already known. So you just can't come in, except the security at the gate didn't do their jobs well. But now everybody is identified on the community.
Thank you very much. I think that a long way to that problem. After now, we'll take 3 questions and we're good.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So the gentleman that spoke before me beat me to the buzzer, but my concerns were mostly addressed.
Okay.
The answers you provided.
All right.
It just leaves for me the aspect of the access that is then given to the shortlet resident to be able to invite guests.
Okay.
So it's the securities built around that particular feature that will be of prime interest. I want to say that the management of shortlet apartments is a major concern.
Yeah.
And I believe it will also require collaborative effort between those of us who are living in estates that have these kinds of apartments with VENCO as well, to ensure that that feature is really fortified to actually do what and address the concerns specifically around security, because
yes.
that's the major problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question is about the monthly rent.
Okay.
I know this like the third question about it, but my concern as a property manager is this. Mr. Chudi mentioned that from his chain, the tenant funds the wallet, right? VENCO originates and does some vetting with the bank with the already established KYC that we have on the app.
Yes.
Then the bank goes further to pay the landlord with interception of the property manager.
Yes.
So my question now is is there an interest rate for that annual payment that the bank does on behalf of the tenants? That's one. And secondly, as property managers as well, we get to, do some sort of management fee deduction. At what point does that come in?
Management fee deduction on the rent of the...
On the rent from the tenant, and as well as the interest rates.
Okay, I get your question. Okay, so yes, it's a loan, no matter how it's being called. So there will be an interest on it. And as property managers, yes, I understand you typically you get your commission on this, but because VENCO is the one bringing the financier into the picture, we are looking at, like, all these things are partnerships. We are working together with property managers or facility managers on the estate. So we will partner with you, because you guys have these properties or these houses, and you know the landlords, and of course you want your percentage. So we can agree on a fair thing. Of course, we have to incentivize you, because you're also doing the legwork one way or the other. Yes, of course, we will get something for the hard work we are doing. Yeah, we all need to be happy. We have to keep everybody happy, so we can't just take that from you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you mentioned giving staff cards, so you don't have to call every single time.
Yeah,
but is there any measure in place where, is there like a final security check for them? Like, we have cases where people who come to work for you, maybe like nannies, are stolen from people. Yeah, or your maid comes and steals something from the house. So is there a final check at security gates where they can confirm that this person hasn't done anything wrong and they can leave?
Okay, so that's
it's for people that come in regularly, like regular staff.
Yes. So our NFC cards and are to help identify people at the gates, but we are not taking the job of the community from them. So the community and their security should ensure they should have rules of engagement. For example, if a maid is, or depending on what you agree with your security, so maybe I live in house A1, and because I have a nanny that comes daily, I might say, please, when the person is leaving, can you please check that nanny for me? So it's not VENCO's job to do that, but exactly. So basically, the security should check. The cards will enable them check that, oh, this is actually the nanny for this house. And the good thing with those cards is it can be deactivated by the residents, the owner. So the day you sack the nanny, you deactivate the card. If you don't deactivate the card, of course, the security will still let them in, and they can do whatever they want to do. So it's now the responsibility still lies with both the residents and the community to safeguard their communities.
Thank you very much. I think this session is really interactive, and we have more questions. So we'll take one more question, then we would have the remaining questions
have a gentleman in front here.
Written down. No, I think he signified first.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clarify what you said when he asked the question about shortlet, and I think the other guy also mentioned these security issues and shortlet, and you mentioned something about rules. Now, if the owner of the property decides to use his property for shortlet, and which is becoming more and more popular now, are rules in place, because there are legal implications to all of this. Now, has there been a unanimous buy-in, or at least a buy-in by the management of the estate, that's the PORA or whatever, that people know that those rules have been made clear to them, and that they have accepted? Because what if they decide to go to court to challenge whatever and get an injunction, and then throw everything up in the air for whatever the period? And the legal process can be very tedious in Nigeria.
Yes.
You could be there for the next 1, 2, 3 years, and nothing happens.
Okay. So for most organized estates, they are Some call it bylaws, some call it covenants, some call it estate rules. And in most of the estate rules I have come across, and even in the one I stay, there is nowhere that says shortlets are allowed. So and that's why we also at VENCO, we encourage this kind of fora, because we try to give you best practices. So if your estate or you are a facility manager and you don't have these rules or guidelines in place, I think now is a good time to get it in place. Because typically when people move into a community, they tell you these are our rules. They even, some have this handbook they give you, and you have to read it. So if you are breaching any of those rules, of course, you're against it. The law won't be on your side. So, and with the increase in shortlet, like you've said, there is nowhere in, I think Lagos state rule says a residential should be residential, and there are some things around it, although law can be very tricky in the wording. But please, if your community does not have those rules yet, please put it in place. Put it in your bylaws or covenants or guidelines for new residents when they come in, or tenants.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I would like to say that we will take more of your questions. We'll take more of your questions after this interaction. Or do we have, should we add one more person?
One more. The gentleman in front.
Okay. The problem is after you ask someone else one question, after this one we're good. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I think I want to add to what he said. Looking at the bylaw, estate rules, I think VENCO Africa can partner with the communities or estates, since you have a system that is always customized to each of the estates you are dealing with.
Yeah.
So we could have like those bylaws or some form of agreement that once a tenant is onboarded, it can click just like you agree. So in case of anything, I just want to add to that. Then also for shortlet management and for tenants, there are times we have some issues that involve escalation security wise.
Okay.
Is there a means through which on the hub we can trigger, like a signal can go all the way to police or to estate security,
okay,
even outside our premises, to handle any form of aggression that is beyond the estate?
Okay.
That would be a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's interesting when we hear this, because these are, we've started some. We already have one called the emergency button on the app where you swipe and that notifies your estates. So during onboarding, we always ask for emergency contacts. So you could have more than 2 or 3 or 5. So there's the email, the phone number. So if a resident is in trouble or he sees something, he can swipe it. Typically, on the estates we are on, it's usually the CSO is there, the estate chairman, the FM, like up to 4 people are notified. And at that time, he sends a text message to them saying there's an issue at house, maybe A1, for example. So we believe 4 people, at least 1 out of 4 should be able to get that message and react. But part of what we are also doing in VENCO is trying to link this to the emergency services, whereby you can call the fire, it can be linked to the fire service, or even, I know we're in talks with an ambulance service whereby they can bring first aid or first response to you. Of course, that would be at a cost, and at least it saves lives. Yes, VENCO is already looking into that. Thank you. And also to answer your first question about integrating these laws into the app, such that when someone, yes, we're working actively with communities and the administrators so that we can provide some of these services for them, just to make the living experience simplified for the communities we serve. Yes, we are already doing that and looking into it. So I guess we will take the break now. This is the last question. Thank you very much.
Let's put your hands together for free. We still have other sessions where we get to ask questions and have answers. But at this juncture, I would go for the tea break. Before I say any other thing, I want us to also know that the next session will be moderated by Faye. So definitely, we know it's going to be very interactive. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I guess we're all glad we're here. Please, once again, put your hands together for yourselves for coming through. God bless you. At this point, we'll go for the tea break. Thank you. Please, the tea break is 15 minutes max. Thank you.
Ọmọ yìí kò kakú, ó fẹ́ lóbi Dangote, ó ní láti jagun. Ìgbádùn ayé pọ̀ lẹ́yìn ìpọ́njú, má bẹ̀rù rọ́jú. Sun's gonna shine on everything you do. Ọmọ nù ò lè wá kú, àbútí mi bá kú. No dey form say you jáde, jáde dey kakú. I dey select the handles for situation on my face and my troubles. Steady light in my candle, chop up with it, part of the struggle. Sun's gonna shine on everything you do. Lókè tí lọ́gbà happiness on the way, oh my god. Light up by fire lólókè, Mr. Money èmi ọmọ lóore ṣéèkì. Wọ́n máa ní ṣéèkì, Dante wey I don see gbéńdé. Àkìdí ló bá mi lọ bí àyàtúwé. Dààmú sókè, àmì dààmú ṣe. Àìsàn mi àná bí gbòòlò. Jàmúlọ́mọ mi ló fi sọ̀rọ̀. Mo ní irú ẹ̀ lé jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀. Ìpàdé ní pọ̀mọ́, gbèsè mọ́ mi jọ. 24 karat sati, ìdásí, ẹ̀bí kíláàsì, ìlú máàtì. Bad boy from starting, ọmọ ìyá mi, ilé Fọlùmínátì. Ọmọ yìí kò kakú, ó fẹ́ lóbi Dangote, ó ní láti jagun. Ìgbádùn ayé pọ̀ lẹ́yìn ìpọ́njú, má bẹ̀rù rọ́jú. Sun's gonna shine on everything you do. Ọmọ nù ò lè wá kú, àbútí mi bá kú. No dey form say you jáde, jáde dey kakú. I dey select the handles for situation on my face and my troubles. Steady light in my candle, chop up with it, part of the struggle. Sun's gonna shine on everything you do. 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 Body they blow me like a banana. Body they rising like a banana. I said, no go this, no go that. Jelly they bossy my color. Jamaica salute your commando. Jelly the balance, I can't play back. No go do me, I'm Maradona. Jelly fall up your slow. I'm a funny girl, I just know. Number 5 is girl, your body big enough. And I can follow your press, I poke up out of my eyes, just just I'm glad, I'm sorry, come on, just I don't care, I don't care, come on, I can't stand for a place, but my bed, come on, get me, I need to feel my best, let's go make this hands away, time for your love taking over. Only good day I be loner. See what you make me discover. Girl, you don't change my persona. The revelation is in order. All the pressure I've been under. Why I call you Ngozi? God don't bless me Ngozi. No deserve is I love it. The loving way you show me. Private lounging in Paris. With expensive room service. No one make me do like this. Girl, I got you, no worries, no worries. He did do me wow. Sata Marintana. Baby on sala. No killing me keep on. Take a love is out. Hypertension in the lala. Every no desire. No killing me keep on. He they do me wow wow wow. Scatter my intana, creep me on sala. But you leave me keep on now. Like I love is a wow. My possession is the lala. If you know this all, but you leave me keep on now.
I know you're waiting around here still to you. In my Panamera, hola, hola. I'm levitating, I feel like she's when you whisper na kupenda. The thing you put for this your dollar. Got my heart and my soul on love. And I wanna go crazy with you. Should they learn till the sun come out? Let's do it all for love. There's nothing for any corporate. I never wanna lose this. To you I belong. This must be love.
You did do me wow wow. Scatter my intana, creep me on sala. But you leave me keep on now. Check a love is all. My possession is the lala. If you know this all, but you leave me keep on now. You did do me wow wow wow. Scatter my intana, creep me on sala. But you leave me keep on now. Check a love is all. My possession is the lala. If you know this all, but you leave me keep on now. Everything you do me I like. My best friend the love of my life. I know if it day without I be you won't make it back. Make sure I put my word on too. Girl you know fear I dey for you. I go run the matter for me and you. Make I be the reason you be living through love. God you ngozi, God don't bless me ngozi. No visa is I love it. The love it way you show me. Private lounge in Paris. Because expensive room service. They won't make me do like this. Girl I got you, no worries, no worries. You did do me wow wow. Scatter my intana, creep me on sala. Don't kill me keep on now. Check a love is wow. My possession is the lala. If you know this all, don't kill me keep on now.
Nicolo big, money more beach, and this in a kisha. In a color beef, my sickle beef, my Nicola Misha. The Nicolo big, Nacola she's a Nicola Misha. Quacqualata, quacqualata.